Hi, Ed Bixby here from the Global Green Burial Alliance with Gretchen Spletzer, and I'd like to welcome you to Spotlight Now, a platform to educate and advocate this movement we call our own. The GGBA would like to introduce Lauren Richwine of Death Done Differently, located in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Lauren will speak to you today about her experiences as a small business owner and her challenge of Indiana's unconstitutional restrictions on discussing end-of-life care. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
Hi, thank you for having me. So kind.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We're really excited to talk to you and learn more about what you're facing in the state of Indiana. So could you just tell us a little bit of what your business was looking like before all of this happened, like what you were doing and that kind of thing?
Yep. So I have been doing this for almost 8 years now. And began pursuing it even further back than that, just self-education and exposure. I have spent those years supporting families here in the community and outside the community remotely, whether that's facilitating, helping support them facilitate their own home funerals or wakes, green burials, end-of-life planning, advanced care planning, documentation. I teach shrouding classes and regularly participate in community events where there's the opportunity for public speaking to raise awareness about these things. And also recently developed a 6-month mentorship program for anyone who wants to learn how to do this work specifically in this region of the country, which tends to be much more difficult to do this work in due to some of the restrictive nature of the laws. And all of that is inaccessible to me right now. I can't do any of it due to a complaint that was filed anonymously by, we believe, a member of the funeral industry itself around 1.5 years ago. And so I was informed of that complaint, and then everything took a really long time. Didn't hear another word about it. I sent in a letter of response and had a funeral director here I'd worked with write a letter of recommendation, just verifying I've never done anything that would be actual funeral work in the way that a funeral director does here. Indiana is one of only several states where legally we have to hire a funeral director at the time of any death. So I have never supported a family without there being a funeral director involved, and even had disclaimers left and right on my website stating this. But that didn't matter once I grew my business to a point where it caught a certain amount of attention. And so then as of it was in January of this year, 2023, is when I was issued an official cease and desist from the Indiana Attorney General's office. And then had to make the decision, okay, do I just fold and give up and walk away from all this time I've poured into this? Or do I just start letting people know, hey, this is what's going on. Do you know anyone who can help? And I just couldn't give in. It didn't feel right. I knew that the claims they were making that I was practicing funeral care were outrageous. And so I just started tapping into that grassroots network that is such a beautiful part of what we do. And lo and behold, was put in touch with the Institute for Justice, which is a magnificent public interest, not-for-profit law firm. They represent individuals where the government is practicing an overreach of power, and they support them in standing up to that. And so they were very interested in my case because nothing like this has ever happened in the Midwest. There's very few cases like this nationally. And so we got through the complaint portion of it. And then once we had that handled, we turned around and we filed our own lawsuit against the Indiana Attorney General's office on First Amendment grounds. So that's where things sit now.
Yeah, because basically you were helping families do everything that they legally have the right to do anyways.
Yes,
So,
I was definitely only communicating about laws that are already in existence, letting families know this is what your full spectrum of rights is,
right.
Which a funeral home and a funeral director may or may not tell you, some of them just because they aren't aware. They've never
Yeah.
had families want certain things, so it's not in their menu of options. It's not something they're going to promote. You know, so things like that, yeah, they're already in existence, so to speak. It's just a lack of awareness, and you can't ask for something that you don't know exists.
Right.
So
Yeah.
education's been like 85% almost, I'd say, of the work that I've done in this area.
Absolutely. Let me ask you this, Lauren. What are they requiring of you? So what would they like you to do?
So their requirements essentially came down to, if you want to continue to do this work that you're doing, they believe that I should go to mortuary school and become a licensed funeral director and embalmer, because this is a state where you have to actually have dual licensure. Even though I would never, I have zero interest in doing either of those things. They're very different from the work I've been doing. And I would have to either build my own funeral home or establish my own funeral home or work with a pre-existing funeral home. So it's just, which I'm not going to do. I'm definitely not going to do either of those things. Yeah.
Right. That seems quite extreme, to say the least. And
Yeah, very, very burdensome, and hoops that make no sense to jump through, you know, given the nature of the work and the way that it can actually, you can partner with a funeral director or a funeral home and do this work beautifully and support each other. It doesn't have to be a contentious relationship. I mean, the funeral industry is not going to evaporate and disappear. I think those of us who have been doing this for a long time and really are passionate and deep in the work, we know that, and we want to see it revitalized. We want to see you know, a healthier funeral industry, but it's still going to be an industry. You know, it's not going to go away.
Yeah.
absolutely. And the one thing that I picked up on when you said that is that, you know, the funeral industry itself is a vital part of this entire process. So we're not trying to exclude them when it comes to natural services and what you're doing. You know, you're just assisting them through the process. So so what would be next for you then, Lauren, concerning, I know that you're in the middle of this battle. What comes next for you and the Institute of Justice?
Yeah. So at the moment, we are waiting on news on whether or not an injunction that we filed will be approved. This would allow me to continue to support the community here and speak openly about the statutes and the laws in the state of Indiana regarding funeral care and families and their full spectrum of choice. It would allow me, if the injunction is approved by the judge, to mentor individuals again and to support families. You know, I mean, I had a handful of clients that I was in the middle of supporting and just had to stop, just drop, because that's what the law in the state required when they dropped the cease and desist order. So yeah, it would allow me to pick those things back up and continue to do the work, which does feel important. And one of the things I've said repeatedly throughout this process is, you know, this is not about me. This is bigger than me. And I think, you know, it's a huge mentality to approach this humbly and with some degree of reverence, and to understand that we serve the work doesn't serve us. You know, and I deeply, deeply feel that, because this is above my head for sure. But I've had the most beautiful people come alongside me and want to support me, and just speak to a shared understanding of this really is important, and people deserve to know what their rights really are and choose what's best for them.
Yeah. And death is so much more than just, there's just so much more to it than just the visit at the funeral home, making your choices and burying somebody. I mean, it's to have that, the support that you were giving those families is priceless. And some people are really lost existentially, just in so many ways, you know. So it's important work, and I'm so grateful that you're stepping up to the call of going beyond what yourself, you know, for the
I
movement.
am too.
Yeah, thank you.
It really takes a village. It is taking a village for sure. And I will say the good news is that if this verdict goes the way we think it will, which we have such a strong case established, we're very, very hopeful that this will be a positive verdict in their favor. But if it does, that means it'll set a precedent for, I believe, Indiana, Wisconsin, and possibly Illinois. I think those 3 states that would protect the work, and it would establish a precedent for other death doulas or death midwives or end of life doulas that, hey, this is valid, legitimate work that needs to be taken seriously, and you can't just throw it out because you don't like it or because it doesn't fit within your framework of this is our corner on the market, or this is what we think it should look like. So yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking a stand. It takes a single voice many times. You know, it's an uphill battle, but without that voice, there is no change. And this industry and the world we live in is ripe for change. And it's not a negative change. It's a collaboration between the two.
Right.
So we do really appreciate the fact that you were able to come on. Are there any other thoughts you'd like to share with us?
Yes.
Lauren?
I do have one thing I want to leave with you. So there is a wonderful not-for-profit here in Fort Wayne called Acres Land Trust. They have been around a long time, and they have bought up a lot of local land parcels, and they steward the land and work very hard to get it back to as close to a natural ecosystem as possible. And they have, about a year ago, they approached me, and they really have a lot of interest in establishing and developing a conservational burial ground. So even one step beyond like a green burial. And I would love to support them in making that happen, but I'm not sure who I need to connect them with or what the next steps are that we would need to lead them through. So yeah, I know their executive director well, and he's an amazing person. So that's just
put them in touch. Put them in touch with us. We can definitely help them.
Absolutely. We can help walk them through the process
Yep.
and help them navigate this. And, you know, the GGBA really appreciates the fact that you were able to come on today and speak to us and help empower others. I think it's important, you know, you're not alone in this fight. And we want to be sure that, you know, there's power in numbers for you. So if there's any way we can support you outside of this conversation, certainly let us know.
definitely.
Encourage your friends, family, and people that you know to be a pledge member of the GGBA, because we want to help educate. And part of what you're doing is educating people. And that's what's important, is to understand these things.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you, if you open to having anybody contact you for more information, or a website you want to direct people to?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. If anyone wants to contact me, they can either email me. My email address, it's just my first name, Lauren, LAUREN, at deathdonedifferently.com. Or I can give you some other alternative ways of contacting me that you can send out with the interview. But yeah, I've responded to a lot of contact from individuals located in other states. Just it really is a village, like I said, and you never know which contact is going to come in to play when you need it. So I'm always open to making connections within that community or people who want to know more. As far as support, just I would say, if you have the opportunity to share any of the articles surrounding this case on social media, that's an easy way to do that. Make people aware that these are issues that are relevant, and raise some awareness and some education that way would definitely be beneficial.
And maybe even contacting their state legislators if they live in Indiana, Wisconsin, or Illinois, or even Minnesota, for that matter.
Yeah. Another simple thing, another super simple thing, and anyone can do this. Call up a local funeral home, make sure it's a locally owned one, not a large conglomerate owned one, and ask them, hey, do you offer any natural burial or alternative funeral options? That's all you have to ask. And when funeral directors start hearing those questions more from consumers, they will be more open to working with individuals like myself who want to support families in doing that.
Absolutely. Well, we do appreciate it, Lauren.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Anyone, if you want to reach out to Lauren, please do so. We're going to provide the contacts and take the advice that we give you. Reach out to your local legislature and be proactive.
Yeah.
That's important. And looking forward to seeing everyone at the next Global Green Burial Alliance Spotlight Now next week. So thanks again, Lauren. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Lauren.
Thank you.